Now owns Death Row, a total full circle moment. It's just super dope. I'm here to talk about it right after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is up, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr here with the Black Boss channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, Snoop Dogg, he has acquired the rights to now own Death Row Records. This is a total 360 complete circle moment as Snoop Dogg obviously started his career back on Death Row in the early 90s with Dr. Dre, and then they eventually signed Tupac. And let's read the article together from Yahoo News, Yahoo Entertainment. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's take a look at this. It says, it's a Snoop Dogg acquires Death Row Records. Rap entrepreneur Snoop Dogg, who rose to fame during the 90s on Death Row Records, has acquired the label's brand from MNRK Music Group, which is controlled by private equity management by the investment firm Blackstone. This confirmed. Terms of the transaction were not disclosed. However, a source close to the situation tells Variety that Snoop's acquisition of Death Row brand is the first part of a transaction that is expected to see him to also acquire some of the label's music rights, his own and unspecified other artists. The source says the deal is expected to conclude in the next coming weeks. This news comes right before Snoop is set to perform at the Super Bowl with Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J., and Kendrick Lamar during the halftime of the Super Bowl on Sunday, and was foreshadowed earlier this week by the announcement he and Nas are teaming up for a new song called Back on Death Row. Snoop is releasing a new album related to the title Back on Death Row on Friday. Originally founded in 92, Suge Knight and Dick Griffey, rappers Dr. Dre and the DOC. In the wake of Dre's departure of NWA, Death Row went on to become one of the most successful, influential, and controversial rap labels and music history, with the roster including Dre, Snoop, Tupac, the DOC, Nate Dogg, Warren G, Michelet, and others. The label released several generation-defining albums, including The Chronic, Doggystyle, All Eyes on Me, but was once married by violence, some of which was instigated by Knight, who has a long record of assault conviction and is currently serving a 28-year voluntary manslaughter sentence. Yee! Woo! So, like I said, Snoop Dogg, he's got Death Row. He now owns Death Row, and hopefully, he can get those iconic songs back, those iconic albums, those iconic records. Get all the rights or some of the rights to some of those back. That would be amazing. That would be culture shifting. That, to me, would set a precedent moving forward. See, what we've been seeing a lot from a lot of artists, that is, in the hip-hop industry, is becoming independent. They're skipping the middleman, which is the label. We know how the labels screw these guys out of record deals. Hell, NBA YoungBoy, which is one of the hottest young rappers right now, just put up a social media post talking about do not sign with Atlantic. We've seen Meek Mill talk about how he's never seen a check from his record label. It's countless artists. The Lil Gotti talk about how he signed a 360 deal. Just countless amount of artists. The Migos fighting with their label. Countless amount of artists who talk about how the record industry is messing them over. And this isn't nothing new. Record labels been screwing rappers over since the beginning of time, from Sugar Hill Gang to, the guys back in the 70s and 80s. So this is nothing new. But this is really cool to see Snoop acquire the rights to his old songs, to get possibly the masters back to his old songs, to now own the record label that he once signed to back in the 90s. Hopefully that continues to push the narrative of ownership. I was watching the guys from the Pivot podcast, Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor. They were on another podcast called Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, and they spoke about why they left I Am Athlete. And essentially, Fred, I'm just speak for what Fred said. He's like, he thought he was getting ownership with I Am Athlete. It turns out the business wasn't buttoned up, and he departed and started his own thing. And he, Channing, and RC, Ryan Clark, now have equal ownership of what they do in the pivot. And ownership is key. Ownership is key. One more time. Ownership is key. That's how you do business. And back in the 90s, Snoop, Dre, Tupac, those guys, they were just happy to rap, and they were happy to have some money. But Snoop Dogg has talked about this a numerous amount of times. When he left Death Row, he was broke. Everything that he owned, or at least he thought he owned, his house, his car, all this stuff, that had Suge Knight's name on it. So Suge Knight owned all of that stuff. When Dre left Death Row to go to Aftermath, he left with nothing. Now, luckily, he was smart enough to, and talented enough to get back on his feet and sign guys like Eminem and 50 Cent, and the rest is history. But he had to leave with nothing because he technically didn't own anything. And so Snoop, same way, didn't own anything. All of it was in Suge's name. Tupac, same way, didn't own anything. All this stuff was in Suge's name. And so to see this full circle moment where Snoop Dogg is able to acquire the record label that he helped build into a mega giant, like the mega giant, we still listen to that music to this day. To this day, we listen to that. It's just beautiful. It happens right before his Super Bowl appearance. So that means it's going to get streamed like crazy. And hopefully he's reaping the benefits of that streaming. And maybe we'll see Death Row as a label come back to prominence. Who knows? Leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr with the Black Boss Channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where I have these kind of conversations, at JLightsy7 on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you guys for tuning in.